What's up, everybody? Welcome to another special episode of Coffeez for Closers. Today, we're going to dive deep into fintech innovation with a focus on the mortgage industry. And joining us today is the founder, CEO, and visionary of LendingPad, a company that's totally reshaping the landscape of the mortgage industry with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to making the loan origination process seamless and super easy for not only brokers and lenders, but for the consumer experience. Under Wes's leadership, LendingPad has not only emerged as a modern loan origination platform, but it's also been a beacon of innovation within the mortgage space. Today, we're going to explore Wes's journey and the challenges he's overcome as an immigrant and how LendingPad is setting new standards in efficiency and client support. And without further ado, welcome, Wes Yuan.
Thank you, Joe. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much for attending. And, you know, we're really, really blessed to have someone of your stature attend today's Coffeez for Closers. And most importantly, really shed light on the things, that the partnership that we're going to launch and the future innovation that we're going to collaborate on. So let's just dive right into it. Now, very, very easy question. What is it that makes LendingPad special when there's a bunch of other loan origination softwares?
Sure. Well, as you know, loan origination software is a very dated industry. So there are very large players in the space, there are a few, and then there are smaller ones, a whole bunch of them. And we've been known in the market for speed of implementation, flexibility of integration, the choices that loan officers can make to connect their own stack, as well as ease of administration. So you don't need a full-time, for most part, you don't need a full-time administrator to administer the system. And also the deployment speed is extremely fast. So we can deploy the system within typically traditional LOS, it will take you 6 months. We can do it maybe in two months or so with all the rules built and so on. So we've been known for those.
The deployment and implementation.
Yes, that's right.
Let's talk about like how archaic the mortgage industry is in terms of, innovation, speed, because we all know that the mortgage industry is kind of like lagging behind many fintech companies. Why do you think that is?
So there are a lot of players in the mortgage file, as you know, from the consumers to the loan officer processor to. So the whole manufacturing process takes maybe 10, 20 people, plus a myriad of regulations, laws that's compounded on top of each other. So it makes the whole process very, very just difficult in general to kind of get through from origination all the way to secondary market, and that's why we decided to kind of come forward to create a system, LOS, that's your system of record that can compress the space between the secondary market and primary market. And a lot of that, has something to do with, why it's so complicated is because the number of hands in the process, the regulation that's overseeing the process, and in generally the difficulty of underwriting, the documentation that's needed to make one mortgage loan happen from beginning to the end. So,
what's amazing about LendingPad is and I know we started the journey of chatting with you guys years back, but now you're not just an LOS for mortgage brokers, but you've also incorporated the mortgage banking component. And that must have been a huge undertaking to accomplish that. So how did you do that? How did you build out a platform for brokers and now also bankers? Because that's not just something that you can easily do.
Absolutely, yeah. Luckily, I had some experience in mortgage banking. I had maybe 10 years of mortgage banking experience and also equivalent kind of in the mortgage brokering space as well. And then also commercial banking. So when I guess you work long hours and many, many files and you kind of see the process from within. And there are, I would say our product covers both brokering and banking side, but there are 3 pillars, what we call 3 pillars that's similar to all shops, regardless you're a broker or a banker. One is the origination aspect of it, right? How easy it is for the consumers, how easy it is for the loan officers. And then there's the manufacturing process, which is the operation aspect of it. That's from processing to underwriting to funding, right? and to post-closing and so on. And then there's the compliance aspect of it, because every step along the way, there are more than 1,000 statutes really that applies to mortgage lending, a different type of consumer lending. So every step along the way. But the 3-pillar covers both audiences. We, because drawn from past experience and also the details that we encounter, then we try to build it into software to make it better, all in all, basically. So
You're always innovating on that front, huh?
absolutely, yeah. And as you know, the manufacturing cost for the loans are very high right now. And it's, those costs from the front end, from the brokerage end, we might think it's the lender's issue. And then, of course, the lenders are putting those costs in the rate itself, right? And to recover those costs. So having a good system, have a good process, good people driving that system would be a key sets of ingredients to make this work.
So now talk to me about the innovation side. So how are you guys always so innovative? Like I remember hearing about LendingPad years ago, and it was like, people were like, oh, this is a different world. How have you always been on the forefront of innovation in fintech?
Sure. I think, this industry, again, it's relatively dated. There are several big players and there are a lot of smaller players. We really we draw, we put on the blueprint. We want to be the innovative company, want to compress the space between secondary market and primary market. We look at different processes. We look at the competitor's product, and the competitors certainly also make us better too, right? So there's no one that can do it all. So we really kind of try to speak the truth on every single element of the product and do better, so that's really how you stay in the forefront.
Yeah.
Look at the details, and I always say the detail matters, right? So that's really the ultimate goal, is to look at every single step, and also having a kind of the holistic view of the whole process and the issues along the way. Then you try to design those things in your product to make it better, and every single detail better.
What are some of the big hurdles that you've had in creating such an efficient platform?
No, I would say hurdles is come back to three things: how to originate better, faster, more accurate, how to stay compliant along the way, and how to make operationally and from a company perspective, the controls that you need to have. So I would say the hurdles that we have is, every software is designed for a specific audience, right? And so our LOS really covers a wide range from brokerage, from the one-man brokerage to a large shop, to mortgage banking shops, to a hybrid, to delegated shops, to wholesalers. So those are our challenges.
Checking all those boxes is like impossible. I haven't really, seen a platform that can cover that, especially big shops like ours. Yes. And what I've noticed is, the very big and the very successful companies are using your platform.
Yes.
Why do you think that is? Like that's what an honor to be recognized for that.
Yeah, thank you. And they grow on those platforms as well. We have enough data now to see. I think really just focus on the client's needs. Specifically what details they're having pain with. We always say that you have to live the pain. So I'll give you an example. Most of our staff have either mortgage background or some type of certified mortgage background, a mortgage education. So this way, when a client tells us they're paying, we try to live through their eyes, basically. And then we roll up to a product view, and then through an architecture view, and through another round of review. So all in all, when we design the product for larger growing shops, we kind of look at these details and these feedback, and then quickly make improvement. As you know, that there's a lot of systems, they promise the whole world and they don't deliver, or they say they're going to improve, but it takes 5 years to do it. So, of course, we also have a long list of items that we wish that, that could be done tomorrow. But, you kind of look at this whole thing holistically, look at the feedback very carefully, and improve the product, but do nothing but improve the product. That's what our, how we overcome the challenges and over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I really appreciate your guys' feedback and honesty because I remember a couple years ago when I approached you guys and people were telling me, "Oh, you got to get on LendingPad," um, and I said, "Listen, we're a banker." Like they're like, "Well, our model's not really ready yet for mortgage banking," and you were candid. Like you could have told me the same thing as the platform that we're on now. So yeah, come on board. We'll just make it work and we'll just figure it out along the way. You guys were like, "Not yet. We are building it and we'll be ready by,"
Sure.
and you gave me the date. So being candid was very, very important to, as especially as a business, you have your reputation to stand on. And that's something that I really admired is that you guys were completely transparent
Yes.
in your dealings. You weren't like
Absolutely.
misleading any of your partners.
Yeah, and we understand it's a product. You have to live with the product afterwards, so we take that relationship part of it too. So philosophically speaking, when we are dealing with our employee trainings and so on, from sales to support, to service side of things, we understand whatever we promise you from day one is what we need to deliver on, day 365, 1 year into the system, 2 year and 3 year. So we kind of know that we cannot overpromise and then underdeliver. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
And from our marketing, it's synced into the company culture. We don't ever overpromise. If we don't have it, we don't have it. But possibly what we can do it this way, maybe alternative, maybe a timeline, right? So those things we take it to heart. I feel like a lot of vendors on the market today, the marketing goes out first, I kind of book the sales and then, live the promises later, but that's not our model. We kind of, but we will listen to your feedback because.
Yeah. And that's something I appreciate about you guys. And it's significant. It's really been a major determining factor for us because this is probably one of the biggest decisions we as a company are making. So not only did we make this decision very calculated, but we thought this out. We thought out, how we're going to make this work and how we're going to scale this because, we have close to 900 loan officers right now as of February 6th. So, depending on when people hear this, it could be 1,000+ people. So I'm going to talk about like your journey and who you are as a visionary leader. So, so I know you were like me, you're an immigrant. You came when you were a young guy. And you started as a realtor, correct, in the 90s, and then you became in college, yeah, and then you became a mortgage broker, yes, and then you became a banker. So you transitioned from a banker to a mortgage banker, and then you became a chairman of a nationally recognized bank. So tell me about that journey. Like what inspired that?
Sure. Well, in college, it pays the bills, so that's always, I started part-time for my broker. But on the trips to different houses, clients will ask me, what's the mortgage payment, and back then it just so happened I was a math major. So kind of, kind of instantly telling what the PI payment is for whatever loan amount, it comes pretty quick for me. I mean, it's pretty much, I don't think. So after that, it was so naturally I went into brokerage space, and then banking knocked on the door, and we also operated as hybrid mode for a long time, and that was early 2000s, I think, and we did well, and we sold the shop to a PE firm, a very large, reputable PE firm.
Wow, so you grew a big brokerage.
I wouldn't say it was big, but it was profitable. I mean, it was efficiently ran. And part of the system that's in LendingPad today was used in the mortgage banking shop and brokerage shop at those years, so part of it, we have to retool it for the market. But, and then somewhere along the way, I got involved with a national bank called Dominion National Bank. I inherited that bank from kind of like acquired the charter type of thing. They call it change of control. I did that for a number of years, and then, kind of LendingPad was funded about 8 years ago now. So, but LendingPad was a system through due diligence from the mortgage shop sale, that the PE firm discovered and kind of opened it with us together. because they kind of see the efficiency that drives through the mortgage broker and banking shop, so much efficiency and so much lower cost per loan, basically. So, and they thought that the product was a good idea. And of course, when we took it to the market, we have to kind of retool the whole thing pretty much, kind of making a one single tenant application versus like multiple tenants is a different type of approach, architecturally. But a lot of fundamentals like origination, compliance, and operation, those pillars are the same actually throughout the, the progress. So that's essentially how this product came about. And
so it started at the National Bank, like a micro version?
Not the bank. The bank, I was just involved as a director, but it was the mortgage broker and lending shop that I had for about 13 years.
Did you create like a mini version of LendingPad at that point for your own operational efficiency?
Yes.
So then in 2016 is when you created LendingPad, right? Or is it 2017?
2016.
2016. And then, so it was you had the baby version for your own shop of LendingPad. You weren't operating on Calyx or anything. You had your own proprietary platform.
Correct. Yeah.
And then in 2016, you're like, I need to take this to market.
Much to the sales acquisition advisors,
How did you take a LOS into the mortgage market? How did you penetrate the market?
It was hard. I mean, my mentor told me expect to be miserable for the first 10 years, and I think it's almost 10 years. So, but it was difficult. But I think, for most part, we started with one blue chip client. So that was the mortgage shop sold to the PE firm. So the PE firm became the first blue chip client. So that was a little bit easier. So we have at least one client, and then we started taking to market and just sell first 50, 100, kind of focus on client relationships. And we still keep in touch with the first, the second, the third client. We still are very much involved in their, in the conversations every quarter or so we touch base, and a lot of their feedback, and I always remember, whatever you promise, you got to deliver. So, and that's how you keep old friends and make new friends, right? So that's how we came here. So I mean, it was hard. I mean, it was a lot of headache and, a lot of manpower, a lot of resources, but you just have to do it one at a time, and making sure that you keep the relationships, making sure that you deliver what you say, and excel, and exceed that expectation to the best that you can. So.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're not a sales guy, you're a computer scientist, right? So you really had to get uncomfortable with selling. You had to sell this product. So, like, how have you managed your level of uncomfortability in this journey of success? How have you managed that?
I think everyone sells to some extent, I sold myself to my wife, I always say.
Best sale ever.
Best sale ever, yeah. And I think everyone sells to some extent, and that's a part of the skill everyone should have, and I think there are different styles of selling. But I would you have to get uncomfortable, even product, like even running the company, even though we have a very good market share now, but I tell my team, don't ever get comfortable, because technology today is one thing and tomorrow is another thing. So to stay ahead, don't ever get. So in terms of ideas, innovation, listening to customers, look at what's in the market, look at what's coming up, how the industry will evolve, all of that, we'll say that those are the fabrics of the culture of the company, is that you don't get comfortable, ever,
So that's part of the company culture. Yeah, so describe to me the company culture, because I heard a lot of good things about your company culture. Sure. And I know that you guys have, you're there's a deep bond between you guys. LendingPad people, or the employees that work there, they're big advocates of LendingPad. So describe to me the company culture.
Sure. I think first of all, the team, you're serviced by a team of almost family-like, type of team. So most of us been with each other for 5, 6, 10 plus years, and we've seen the children grow up and so on. So having to be serviced by those type of team, that we all can communicate, sometimes even in a nonverbal, non-communicative, like we know what we're thinking. And in that sense, that it creates a lot of efficiency and also good culture to drive, and from within, right? From how we build the product to how we deliver the service. And I think our clients can tell. And I think that's another reason that's part of the growth. So I look at the company same as you do, people, process, and system. Do I have a good system? Do I have good people? Do I have good process? And only the three work together in tandem, then you can create something great. So that but the culture in general, we try to kind of, I think the culture realistically it'd be telling the truth, and I think we also have to hold each other accountable, right? Because you've got the high performers, you got middle, and you got the lower, performers. So you have to speak the truth, and the culture is, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. I'll be honest that that you, but I try to manage to some, kind of to the truth telling aspect of this, and in every decisions that we make. And a lot of decisions, actually most of the decisions are made jointly. So it's more of a collaborative, fail-safe environment. We encourage participation from all employees. So, someone tells your experience from products, from support side, may be fed directly through the CTO side, the product side, and the product team will go, kind of look at those things all together. So having that type of internal culture that's transparent, that's truth-telling, that sometimes is uncomfortable, but hold each other accountable for, I think those are the culture element in our organization. It's really no secret. I think a lot of successful companies is the same. The pillars of success would be, really everyone performs at their maximum capability and more, and they encourage an open, positive environment and a good communication. So those would be our culture.
Nice. And
our client can tell. So
yeah, and we definitely sense it. And we know that there's a lot of collaboration going on with your company culture. Yeah. So let me ask you this: what's the plan for market share? Because there's a lot of market. We have 100,000 LOs. There's you've got all the top brokers, probably some of the, so how much market share do you guys want?
So we feel like we have a very good brokerage market share. We still have a long way to go in terms of banking and so on. I would say that our goal is to double the market share in the next 2-3 years. Do
you know the percentage of market share you have now?
We calculated the originated loan amount in the system, about 5% of the market. I would take
5% of the national market share. That's
the total market. Yeah. So
how many trillions is that?
I think you look at the MBA data. I don't have this year's data because it's so new this year. But I think last year was 1.7 or something like that.
1.7 trillion in 2023. That's amazing. So that's what was originated through LendingPad.
A small percentage of that,
So 5% of 1.7 trillion.
Yeah. Well, give or take, there are some fall through and so on, right? The 1.7 is closed loans. But I haven't checked my data, like all that close.
No, but listen, if you want 10% of national market share, when there's Calix, there's Encompass, there's Arrive, there's all these random ones too. Yes. And then you guys are the big players. Yes. In the space, and you're gaining more market share by the day.
Yes.
To acquire a company to get eMortgage Capital on your platform, and then all my competitors who are watching this show right now are probably going to jump on after this.
There's a system for everyone. We always have open, again, the truth-telling culture is, what can we work with you? And you guys were on a trial. We give all the big shops, access to trial, and don't sign it until you like it, and that's our quite different, right, from the traditional sales channels that you log you in for a 10-year contract. We have none of that. We do have some just because of the level involved to service the market, service the whole infrastructure. It does have a substantial overhead involved, but in general, we let you try the product out before you sign up, and we realize that whatever we promise you, again, is what we have to deliver and more.
Every good company does it that way. Like there's no we don't lock you in. We have to compete for your business.
That's right. And that's the mentality. Don't get comfortable. We have to compete, earn the business.
Yeah.
The right way.
I love that. And then let me ask you this. What is the transition for a new person switching from Arrive or from Calix or from whatever LOS? how is that transition, and how do you support that person and overcome the mindset that they have in that transition? Because a lot of people are scared to transition. So describe to me that transition and that transitional support that you offer your team.
Sure. First of all, change is hard. No one wants to change, right? So once you're comfortable, you don't want to change. So we understand that to support that transition, from really the service team or the support team side, from onboarding to support. We'll give you an example. One of our policies is, one of our support channels is life support. For the first 5 loans, we want people to jump in life support. You get someone to answer your call, walk you through shoulder to shoulder. So once you do 5 loans or so, it becomes pretty easy. Like, we've had this statistics all played out pretty well. So a couple of loans immediately they pick it up. And our system tend to attract the more seasoned Ls for some reason. Like, they pick up faster than the ones having a little lesser experience in the industry. That's also a statistic we interestingly are learning, But in generally speaking, we'll try to make it we will be there as much as you need us to be to kind of walk through the files. That's the transitional aspect of it. Of course, the training, the support, the not having you wait when the file needs to close. We'll try to get the answer as quickly as possible. Internally, we have different, it's called skill-based routing systems going on. It depends on what kind of expertise you need, that we try to zoom down that expertise for you in real time. If not, we may need a day or two to get back to clients, but for most part, to help them transition, that's what we do. The training, the support, the walkthrough, and then once that beginning period is over, usually user pick up right away. That learning curve is what I call a J curve. Immediately, it's an exponential pickup. And then the more they use it, the more they feel like it's easier, so that we have that type of feedback as well. So it's just getting that initial threshold. It's like I always tell my kids that, the workout, the hardest part is to be willing to decide to go to
Yeah.
And that's the first step. Once you take the first step, the rest of it, same as scaling the business, same as a lot of other aspects of the business, the same, but once the mindset is open to learn, then it becomes much easier, and it will help the users to transition that way.
I want to congratulate you on your recent awards. You were just nominated for the Housing Wire Tech 100, and then for LendingPad, and then you were also nominated for how was it the housing? You were nominated as the Housing Wire Trendsetter. For last year. I mean, that's amazing.
That's good honor that we appreciate Housing Wire's awards. No, we try to kind of focus on the product. I always say, at the end of the day, it's the product and it's the service. So, but yeah, we appreciate the honor. Whatever we can do to advance this part of the industry is what we're happy to see that's being placed out, and that's been getting more and more recognition. But recognition set apart, we're actually razor focused on the product, so we had a little celebration, and that's about it. Then
it's like little 5 minutes and we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
We're on to the next thing.
Because that doesn't matter. I think we still have a long way to go. So,
I love that mindset. And that's a winner's mindset that you guys have.
Never gets comfortable. So, but yeah, it's served us well. But again, we got a long way to go. Far from where we like it to be. But I think we'll get closer.
One thing I like to close the podcast on, it's a personal, a couple personal questions is your goals. So, tell me a personal goal that you have, a family goal that you have, and a business goal that you have for LendingPad.
Wow, that's a hard question.
I know. Throws everybody off a little bit.
Yeah, so the personal goal, I would say that, I'm pretty happy personal goal-wise. Actually, I enjoy what I do. So personally, I think between, I guess balanced is the way to put it, balance between the personal side of things and career side of things. I think relatively speaking, I'm happy where I am. So I think we'll continue on, maybe healthier, maybe. And the second one is the
family goal.
Of course, seeing the children grow up, be a healthy, happy, and that's in generally the goal, and continue to be the goal. And then the third one is,
This is your business goal for LendingPad. What's the vision? What's the goal for?
vision would be, better product, and I think build a more better product, kind of larger market share, of course, and advance the industry in general. Actually, do our part to advance that small piece one at a time type of mentality. So those are the personal
Advancing an entire industry and the landscape of an industry.
It's limited, but we'll do what we can to advance that.
It's not that limited. You got a lot of people backing you up. You got a lot of support, and you got a great product. And thank you so much for attending the podcast. Thank you for coming on, Wes. I know your time is precious. You flew all the way from Washington, D.C. Thank you for watching, everybody. Wes Yuan, founder, CEO of LendingPad. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Joe, thanks for having me.